You had trouble in Calgary, you had a little trouble here now. Is there kind of a black cloud hanging over your cards in Canada?
Well, if you look at last year was the worst year we've ever had out of 13 years. And, you know, these things are going to happen. Unfortunately, you know, a couple of them happened in Canada here, so. But here's the thing. The one thing that I'm focused on, we've never been to Winnipeg ever. So a lot of people from this area, it's sold out. We broke the record here. None of these people have seen it live. And if you've never seen it live, it's great on TV. It is the most exciting live sporting event you will ever see. I know I'm a little biased when I say that, but I promise you, the people in this town who bought tickets are going to have a blast on Saturday night.
Actually, if you go to the airport in Winnipeg the night before one of your fights in Toronto or Montreal, it's full. Winnipeggers travel to see the fights all the time. This is a city that really prides itself on being a big UFC place. Can you tell that already? Obviously, the ticket sales go a long way to tell that. But is there more about this city that attracts you than just being able to sell tickets fast?
Well, you know, when you put tickets on sale in a place, you never know how tickets are going to sell. Obviously, you hope when you're going to a new place and people haven't been, you're going to do well, and we did. So you really do tell by ticket sales. A place like this, when you come in, you sell out. Not only sell out, but break the record. And we're actually figuring out how to release some more tickets for people too. One of the things that we do is, you know, there's always bumps on the road. There's, you know, guys get injured. It happens. We put the Roy Nelson fight on as soon as Barral went out. You know, then the other injury happened so close we couldn't fix it. Chael wanted to fight Shogun, but he can't fight it on that short of notice. You know, the guy was going to do it with John Jones. We can't keep asking Chael to do that, especially with 2 losses and the guy wants to continue to fight. You know, but the one thing that the UFC always does is we deliver. Every time we come in, these fighters will put on a show, and people will leave happy. In the 13 years, I can count on one hand how many shows have sucked. You know, so. We will deliver here Saturday night.
Did the building size scare you or encourage you?
Does what scare me?
Did the building size scare you or encourage you?
It encourages me. You know, I love it. Yeah, that doesn't scare me.
Dana, with the recent changes to the criminal code up here in Canada, now MMA, there's no kind of, it's clear now that it is legalized right across the country. Is that going to open up a lot more markets now for you? Does that change any plans?
Yeah, it definitely does, you know. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We want to take this thing everywhere, and now we can't. Now we literally can't.
Does that impact, I know in Vancouver there was the whole insurance issue. Does that kind of clear this up? Is that going to change with this now? Now there's no the criminal code. There's no gray area now. Does that affect things in Vancouver?
It should. Yeah, it should work.
Can you tell from your sales whether you've gotten people from far and wide to this event? It's isolated in some respects. Have you been able to bring people in from as far away as you would normally?
It doesn't matter where we go, in what country or what city we're in. The UFC is one of those events that people travel to, people coming in from all over. So it's not like if you had a concert here in Winnipeg, you know, a lot of people from Winnipeg would, maybe a couple people from here and there. People are coming in from all over the world for this fight.
When it comes to John Jones' next opponent, do you kind of have an opponent in mind, or is this main event on Saturday? Could that make changes in terms of who Jones fights next?
No, Jones going to fight. Gustafsson in September.
In Toronto.
In Toronto. Yep.
When Winnipeg sells out this fast, does it encourage you to come back, or is that something that can't be done for a while?
How soon?
What was the question?
Like when Winnipeg sells out this fast, does it make you want to come back? How quickly? You have to go to other places in Canada, I guess, first.
Yeah,
before you come back here.
Yeah, definitely a great market and one we will come back to.
But how soon?
We haven't even left yet. How can I say when we'll be back?
Are you guys contemplating Cowboys Stadium for October?
No.
Is the George st-Pierre?
We're going to Houston in October.
Would that probably be Kane and JDS?
Probably. What's that?
Sorry, we read yesterday that there was rumors that you sort of selected October as a time for George st-Pierre and Johnny Hendricks. Is there any more on that? Any more confirmation? Or is it still
Yeah, no, October's probably going to be Kane and JDS.
And will that be in, GSP and Johnny Hendricks?
Yeah, no.
No?
In October, no.
Okay.
When would that
I
fight
don't
be?
know.
Kane and JDS would be in Houston. Is that what you're targeting?
Yeah,
Would that be in an arena or a stadium?
arena.
One fighter told me, he says, I can't drop out of fights without paying my bills.
He said he can't what?
He can't drop out of fights when he's hurt because he has to pay his bills.
Right.
But he says the upper echelon guys have that option. So do you think there's any truth to that?
Yeah. You know, there's been a lot of talk about the fighter, you know, how much money fighters are making and everything else. No matter what job you're in, no matter what position you're in, no matter where you work, you make a certain amount of money. And you have to spend your money wisely and live within your means. We all do. There's no difference. But when a fighter gets hurt, yeah, and he's expecting that paycheck to come, not good. Definitely doesn't help.
What keeps the momentum going? What has kept it going all these years?
The momentum?
Yeah.
It's an exciting, fun sport to be a part of.
But you still have to stay ahead of the game, right?
What's that?
You still have to stay ahead of the game, though.
Yeah. What do you mean by stay ahead of the game?
You know, things kind of, in today's day and age, they get popular and then they die out. But this thing just keeps rolling.
You know, my philosophy on this has always been, fighting doesn't die out. Fighting's been around since the beginning of time, and it'll be here till the end of time. You know, and what we've done is we put together a sport that is very exciting, very entertaining on television and live, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Why do you think that people haven't grasped the concept yet of waiting to see what happens on Saturday night before they rag on a fight card?
Well, I think that we have a bunch of fans who love to bitch about shit. You know what I mean? If people aren't bitching about shit, they're not happy. So, I mean, I don't know how many times it's got to be proven that you're going to say a card sucks before it happens. You're either a fight fan or you're not. If you're a fight fan, you know, I see guys saying, I'm definitely not buying this card. Who gives a shit? Did anybody ask you if you were going to buy this card or not? Just those people just like the bitch, you know? I'm one of those guys, if two guys are fighting on Saturday night and I'm home and it's on TV, I'm watching it because I'm a fight fan. Then you're going to have some fans that are people that are kind of fringe. You know, if a big fight happens like Anderson and Chael, when that happened, that was one of those spillover fights that people, you know, even this Floyd Mayweather fight that didn't do that great this last time. Well, now they're doing the Canelo fight. This is one of those spillover fights where a lot of people will be interested in this fight.
How do you see that fight, Dana? Canelo and Mayweather?
I think it'll look just like Mayweather's last fight.
I
think Floyd's too fast and too defensive for Canelo. I don't know.
Ever think of bringing Floyd to the UFC?
No. Floyd would never come to the UFC.
There's been some talk about, or criticism of the pay-per-view model for UFC. Do you see yourself moving away from pay-per-view or branching out elsewhere, maybe pay-per-view online
streaming? What was the criticism?
Just that it's going to kill the UFC. That it isn't going to work.
We've been on pay-per-view for 13 years.
Yeah. But are there, like, could there be maybe other ways of getting fights out there, streaming online paid or
we're on Fox, we're on TV. I mean, every way that you could buy a fight, you can. You could buy a fight on your iPad. I mean, every way that you could possibly purchase a fight, you can. But pay-per-view is still.
But doesn't that kind of restrict your market?
Not when you're on free television. I'm doing 34 fights a year, and 13 of those are on pay-per-view. The rest are on free television. In 175 countries, 23 different languages, and 1 billion homes worldwide on television.
Right.
I don't think we're limiting our ability for people to watch.
But in other countries, it's on subscription, isn't it?
Right.
So they've got subscription.
Well, it depends on where. It depends. It depends on what market you're in. In Australia, it's on free TV and it's on pay-per-view. In England, it's been a nightmare.
Yeah.
Now we just got Mexico done. We're on free TV and subscription down there. In Brazil, we're on the biggest. It's basically like being on Fox with no competition whatsoever, and we're on subscription too. So there's different models in different countries.
Dana, now that you got Mexico done, how far away do you think you are from an event there?
Say that again?
Now that you got Mexico done with a big network, how far away do you think an event is?
Soon, I hope. You know, I definitely, now that it's on free TV, give it a little time down there, and we'll bring an event to Mexico very soon.
Well, only 4 events on that channel, right? Televisa, only 4 big events they'll have, and then
yeah, I think so. Yep.
And
it's better than 0.
Absolutely. But not in 2013, right? For an event there?
Not what?
It wouldn't be this year, a debut there, right?
No.
Too late.
Well, the last fight was on TV.
No, I mean to have an event in Mexico.
Oh, an event? No.
Yeah.
Eye pokes has been a little bit of a problem. You guys working on new gloves or something different?
Eye pokes. Yeah, we're working on gloves, but the thing is, we've been using the same gloves for, forever. Just people need to start closing their hands is what needs to happen. But yeah, we're working on a glove. And even when we work on these gloves that kind of curve your hands a little bit like this, I mean, if you're reaching out, you can still go down somebody's. There's no way we can cover the fingers. Guys just need to start closing their hands. It didn't happen for a long time. Now there's like an epidemic.
Do you expect to see from Evans and Henderson?
What's that?
Evans and Henderson. What do you expect?
Well, I love when two really good wrestlers fight because usually it ends up standing up, and these are two really good wrestlers who can both knock you out. So it should be a good fight, and it's a big win for both these guys. Both these guys need this win bad.
I was just going to ask how big this is, because would you say that the loser of this fight might be done in terms of ever being able to compete for a title in UFC ever again? Definitely done.
Yeah, I think so.
Lose, that's it.
I mean, anything's possible.
Right.
You could lose this fight and then go on an 8-fight win streak, but I would say statistically, it would be tough to come back from this loss.
In terms of New York, Dana, with the assembly session ending on June 20th, is there any hope of some kind of Hail Mary that this thing gets passed, or is this year kind of
Who
a
knows?
write-off?
I don't even want to talk about New York anymore. Who
little
gives a
island,
shit?
isn't it? Yeah.
It will, or who gives a shit? It will or it won't. I don't care.
Any more plans for a TUF in Canada?
Yeah, we're
Soon in the
doing it.
fall?
Oh, it's happening. Oh yeah, it's happening, boys and girls.
What was that, Surreal?
John, and you mentioned, I think, in Vegas that Jones was over in Russia. And we heard some rumblings that Gustafsson was over in Russia.
Yeah.
Were those guys over there just to kind of spread the UFC word? Or were you guys...
Cain Velasquez was there too,
Okay.
and a bunch of other guys that went there. There was some big wrestling tournament.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, there was a big wrestling tournament over there, I guess, and they all got brought out for it.
I mean, I know you guys, you've talked that that's a goal at some point.
Yeah, that had nothing to do with us, all the guys being in
Any
Russia.
closer on that, or that's just another bucket list item that you guys got to keep working toward?
Yeah.
What is your number one issue that you're working on right now?
Our
What's
number
the top-
one issue.
what's
Well,
the top
it
of your
depends.
to-do list?
It depends on who you're talking about. If you're a lawyer that works at the UFC, you're working on New York right now. If you're Lorenzo, you're working on a lot of international stuff. If you're me, I'm working on the Fox deal and all the things that are going on, all the fights here in the United States. I'm filming The Ultimate Fighter right now, working on The Ultimate Fighter Canada, et cetera, et cetera. So we're dividing and working on lots of different things.
A lot of legal stuff. It's fun.
Yeah, legal stuff. The lawyers are working on all the legal stuff, not me.
Were you joking when you said bad or tough?
No, that's serious.
What do you mean?
Misha and Ronda hate each other.
Right, but
It's like literally crazy drama every day.
But it's compelling. It's not bad. It's not like
It's irritating.
It's not Carwin Nelson bad, or is it?
Oh no, let's not get crazy here.
Ken Tito bad.
You think it'll make for good TV?
Yeah, it's Ken Tito type stuff.
Well, that's good. That was your good rating.
Ken Tito type stuff.
Do you think it'll make for good TV with the animosity?
I don't even know if some of that stuff will make TV.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Is that bad?
it's bad.
We can have a first.
Those
tough
two
baby.
do not like each other,
First
and their
tough
camps
baby.
do not like each other, and it is just pure fucking mayhem every day.
Can you? I know you can't probably talk much about it, but the dynamic of the men and women in the house, is that going okay?
Yeah, that's going well. You know, there's some men and women there that are serious and want to be in the UFC and want to fight for a living, and they're doing their thing.
Is there any romance? Could we have the first tough baby? Could they call it Dana or Dana? Maybe?
I don't know if there's any romance. I don't see that stuff till it gets to the end. I don't. I know what goes on at the gym, and if I show up at the house, bad shit happen. That's it. That's all I know about.
I mean, if you're Eddie, who has an interim title shot, now he doesn't, and now he's concerned that, hey, Barao and Cruz might come back at the same time, and I might be left out in the cold.
True.
If you were him, would you take the fight?
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah. Look what Rashad did. Remember when Rashad sat out all that time waiting for the title? So he sat out all that time waiting for the title, didn't make money, didn't have fights, you know, your window in sports is, you know, is very.
He ultimately got a shot though, but then you got a guy like Josh.
No,
was already in.
Then the fight was set, and then he got hurt.
But he ultimately though did get back to a title fight, whereas
Right.
a guy like Josh Crispy, turned
a year and a half later.
Right.
A year and a half later, you know, he could have fought 5 fights. He could have fought 5 times while he was waiting.
So your opinion remains: take the risk, fight, make money.
If you truly
stay fresh.
believe you're the best, you're going to win anyway.
Yeah.
Does that
You know what I
apply-
mean? If you don't, then what are you doing here anyway?
Would that apply to Fabricio Verdum at the moment as well, then, in that sense that he might try and wait for Dos Santos and Velasquez if he was in a top? He needs to get on.
I'm always an advocate of fight. Fight as much as you can. You know, you stay in great shape. Your timing, everything, you get better with every fight, and you get paid. You get paid.
What's going on with Roy Nelson? This is the last fight on his deal, and win or lose, are you guys going to sit down and hammer out a new deal? What's going on with Roy?
We'll see what happens, you know. This is his last fight. And we had to get him. This is why he's on this card. We had to get him this fight before his contract expires in July. So we'll see what happens.
Dana, the little dog got hurt and became apparent that Chael Sonnen's name was in the mix for that fight. Was it Chael or bust, or were you contemplating putting in a lower ranked opponent for Shogun just to keep him on the card?
Yeah, I mean, but here's the problem. Nobody's going to take a Shogun fight on that short a notice, except for Chael. But even Chael wanted time to have a proper camp for it. Chael just lost to, you know, people keep talking about how much Chael loses. Chael lost to Anderson Silva, the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, then moved up to 205 to face John Jones, the number 2 pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. So, you know, his losing record isn't that horrible, and he wanted to prepare properly for this fight. I don't blame him. And he wants to go in and get a win against Shogun.
Are you guys concerned about the Bantamweight division right now with obviously the champion out, the interim champion is now out? Is there concern behind closed doors that we got a problem here?
No, never thought about it once. You know, it's goofy if we have to do an interim to the interim, but no. We're letting Dominic Cruz try to get well. You know, he's a good kid. I like him. We'll see what happens. And like I said, I don't want to say it again because you guys go out. Somebody starts tweeting. He said Cruz should retire right now, and then Cruz is like, "Did you say I should retire?" And it's like this fucking drama scene that I got to deal with for 2 hours. You know, if he can't get healthy, we'll go from there.
You said it would be goofy if you did an interim to the interim, but would you do it if Corral can't be back for 8 months?
No.
That would probably be a first, I would assume.
Yeah, it would definitely be a first.
Dana, what happened after UFC 160? Bail someone out of jail, like some famous guy, like an action sports?
No, I didn't bail him out of jail. They were going to arrest him. He's got this comedy thing that he does on YouTube, and you know, he's telling me before the fight, yeah, we had a blast last night. They had this big fake roll of money that they were messing with people with, and he did it by the police, and the police grabbed him and didn't like the way he was talking to him, and you know, and then he said that he was a friend of mine, so they talked to me, and I said yes, he is a friend of mine. He's, you know, and no, he's from Jersey, so I'm sure he was mouthing off, right. You know, and the cops were really cool about it, so they
So you'd actually have to pay to get him out?
No, they let him go.
Is there a rule how much time before the event that you will take it from a 5-round to a 3-round? Or is it up to the fighters?
Yeah, no. If we have to, if we make a fight, and it's not a title fight, but it's the main event, it's a 5-rounder. But if in the middle of somebody falls off and we make it a 3-rounder.
They don't have time to do a camp for 5.
But they don't. Going into a camp, they have to know ahead of time if they're fighting 5 rounds. So you can't do that to the guys and make it a 5-rounder halfway through their camp.
The Aldo Pettis fight and the Ramos Zombie fight, I think it's kind of widely assumed that the winners would fight each other if everybody comes out healthy, and you guys haven't said that officially. Is that the goal at this point?
I haven't even thought about it.
No?
Yeah. We got to see what happens first. I'm excited for that fight, though. Aldo and Pettis is going to be awesome.
What are your thoughts on Ramos Zombie?
Yeah. I'm excited about Aldo Pettis. That's for the title. To a guy who should be fighting Ben Henderson right now at 55, but can make 45 to go down to fight Aldo. You know, a guy who beat Ben Henderson. It's a great fight. And every time Pettis, first of all, Aldo's a beast, man. The guy is just unbelievable what he's capable of doing. He looks unstoppable going in against a guy who every time he fights, it looks like somebody's playing a video game. You know, with the type of moves and things that this kid can do. I just can't wait for that fight. It's a fun one.
What's on the agenda here in the Peg? Got any big plans?
What's on my agenda?
Yeah.
Nothing. I've never been here. I'm probably just going to cruise around, check it out, and go to a fight on Saturday night.
Hey, Dana, did you have is there a date for the October Houston show, other than one of the fourth out there?
For the October Houston show, there is a date, but I don't remember what it is off the top of my head.
Somebody will check and get back to me.
Sure.
Take care of it.
Yeah. I probably wasn't even supposed to announce it today, so maybe nobody's going to get back to you. You're going to be like, God damn it, he did it again. I hate when he does scrums.
So would GSP be in November?
Huh?
Would GSP be in November?
Probably, yeah.
Would he be in Canada or US?
Vegas.
How do you think Barnett
Probably
Mir
wasn't
is going
supposed
to
to
go?
say that either. Huh?
How do you think Barnett Mir is going to go?
I don't know. It's a good fight. It's a good
Definitely
fight.
a good fight.
Josh Barnett stand-up is very, very good. It'd be interesting to see what happens when they go to the ground.
Yeah, that'll be the funnest part.
I agree.
Yeah.
It'll be more fun than the stand-up
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I think that Josh Barnett's stand-up is a lot better than Frank Mir's.
I hope it looks a little like Big Noggin Fabricio on the ground for
Yeah.
that, because that was just great fun for 45 seconds.
That whole
but it was
Brazil
so
card
great
was
fun.
awesome.
Oh, wasn't
man.
it the best?
It was so
Yeah.
awesome.
Loved it.
Me too.
Was there anything go to decision on that? I don't think there was one fight that went to decision on that.
I think you're right. Yeah, I don't think there was.
I think two.
Maybe in the Facebooks, I didn't catch those.
Actually, the Facebooks were ones that we actually
You played,
popped
yeah.
into the show because they were so good
It was
too.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Dana, I guess I would preface this by saying I like this style, but there have been major press conferences with commissioners, most of the big leagues, and I've never been entertained by one in jeans and a t-shirt
Right.
who used mayhem as
Right.
one of his phrases.
Right.
Is that your style?
Sustainable?
I don't know. That's a good question. Suits don't make you any smarter. I can tell you that. I don't like wearing them. I wear them at the fights. That's about it. And I've said this before. I grew up watching guys, whether it was sports figures or heads of leagues or guys who ran companies or whatever it was. And every time they'd come out and talk, they were reading canned statements that were written by lawyers. It's not me. Since day one, since we bought this company, we've been pretty open book. I've been very open with the media. I've had my good and bad moments with the media, but 100% of it is all honest. I don't ever not tell you what I'm thinking. I just gave out 3 dates here that I probably shouldn't have given out. That PR is going to be pissed off and bang their head against the wall. It's just, I don't know. If you talk to me, you're going to hear what I think and what I have to say.
I wouldn't say that you're reckless, but you're not careful.
Good, that's a pretty good analogy. I like that. Definitely not reckless, but I'm not careful.
Well, does it get you into trouble?
I've gotten in trouble before, definitely.
Why don't you change?
I don't want to.
Wouldn't be Dana.
Excuse me, can I ask him a question?
Sorry.
I just don't want to change.
And is that you're the face of the UFC? It would strike me as maybe you connect with your people better, your fans, better because you look and act just like one of them.
I've always the fans are such a huge. They're involved in this. I think that's why our fans are so crazy. And we were just talking about it earlier. How they'll just start bitching about stuff early. Our fans actually feel like they do have some say and they do make a difference. Like their voices are heard. Whether it's through the internet. I mean, the night of the fight. I get here early, and I call her Twitter baby, but one of the girls that works social media with me Kristen, we sit in the back and we read everything that the fans are saying. We engage with them. We go back and forth. And one of the things that I love about social media is that one-on-one contact with the fans. Not just because I like it and I like, the fact that they can be heard, but there's times where we'll be in the arena and some guy bought bad tickets, or we make mistakes too. One time we had fans that were sitting in seats where we should have killed those seats, and there were cameras in front of them. So because of Twitter, I was able to move a whole section of fans into another section and make sure that everybody has a great experience that night and leaves the arena with the show we intended to put on for them, So, I mean, there's just so many different reasons why I do it.
So the fans do matter then, right, Dana? Fans matter. You care a lot about your fans.
I do.
You do a lot of social media.
Yeah, I mean, I must engage with fans more than any other person involved in sports. Commissioner, player, owner, whatever you want to call it. And some of it's good and some of it's bad, Like he was saying earlier, why do you act like this and why do you do this? It's because it's the way that I want to react, I sit on, if you've ever read my Twitter timeline, if you come on and say some stupid shit to me, get ready, it's coming right back at you. And the way that I look at that is, if you walked up to me right now and said some things to me that I don't like, I would tell you exactly what I think about you and what you think. Why should that be any different on Twitter?
When did you make this decision, though? Like, every other commissioner gets an MBA, goes to law school, becomes a commissioner, puts on a suit, and becomes a plastic surgeon with the language.
Right.
You never did that. Why not?
I think that I've been extremely lucky because I've been like this since day one, and as the sport continued to grow, people just got used to it. As far as swearing goes, I know there's a lot of people out there. I was just in Clemson at the football camp my kids were in, and the coach there doesn't swear at all. He doesn't like swearing, and he doesn't believe in swearing. And I think that everybody can have their own opinions or whatever. The way that I look at it is, we're all grown-ups. And I'm a grown-up, and I say some bad words here and there. If you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you.
Is it automatic that you'll, like, if it goes well Saturday night in Winnipeg, you'll be back?
Yeah, no doubt about it.
You know already you'll be back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be back. This is a great market. I mean, we went on sale, we sold out. I know that there's been a lot of talk about, a couple of the fights fell off and things. When we come into a town, especially, I love going into places we've never been, because I know that the people there have never experienced the UFC live. I can tell you this, we're going to put on a show like you have never seen before. Everybody's going to leave this arena on Saturday night going, God damn, that was fun.
Are your cards louder in NHL arenas than NHL games? Will you be louder than a Jets game?
Than a Jets game?
Yeah.
Like the NFL?
NHL. Winnipeg Jets play in this.
No, that's what a big. That's how much I know my NHL. That's a good question. I don't know. We've gone to places where, it's. I mean, Brazil is insane. Ireland, we only had 9,500 people, and pound for pound was the loudest place I've ever been. And Canada is always. I mean, the Canadian fans are sports fans, and they love hockey and they love the UFC. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's usually energy. Have you ever been to one live yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about. You've been to a live UFC. You get it.
Dana.
It's the one thing. Our live event is the one thing that has helped grow this business. First of all, when we go into a new market, there's always an explosion after we leave of mixed martial arts schools popping up and everything else when we go into these other countries that have never been exposed to it. But there's never been a time, and even back in the days when the UFC wasn't as big as it is, where we would bring a studio executive, a sponsor, somebody who didn't really like the sport or didn't know enough about it. Nobody has ever walked out of the arena and go, yeah, this sucks. I'm never gonna check this out again. The live events really helped us get to where we are.
How many bled all over my computer in Toronto?
Who did?
The kid that got lumped up in Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was ringside for that. Yeah,
okay.
I closed my computer and it was all covered in blood.
No kidding. See, people always say, are we gonna be, I'm always like, come on, that's ridiculous. Blood doesn't spray out of the cage.
How long?
Maybe it does sometimes.
How long was a plan to come to Winnipeg? Like, how long does it take to get the UFC to a city?
Well, if you look at how long our first fight in Canada, You know, we've been to Montreal a zillion times. We've been to Toronto a few times. We've been to Vancouver. You know, we're finally just getting to Winnipeg. So it took a while.
So it's been in the works for a few years.
Well, you know, when Tom Wright started with us, Tom Wright came up with a plan, you know, how to really take this thing all over Canada. And here we are.
Thank you. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
A couple words on UFC 62, Anderson versus Weidman. How do you think that'll go?
You know, all the pros, like when you talk to all the fighters, every fighter out there that I've talked to and that we've interviewed thinks Weidman's going to beat him.
Yeah.
George St-Pierre thinks he's going to win so much that he didn't even want to
go up to the
plan to fight Anderson.
I agree, but Anderson can do things nobody else can.
And then
you agree with that?
Every media guy that I asked all picked Anderson. So you like Weidman?
Well, I like Weidman, but Anderson can do things nobody else can too.
I agree.
So you can't say nothing about it.
I agree.
Dana, when TRT became kind of a hot issue in the past.
What is?
TRT?
Yeah.
You were clear on it, or you were in line with the Montana State Athletic Commission. Then you changed your tune and you were against it. You said we're going to test the hell of it like nobody else.
Right.
A couple days ago, the CSAC announced that they will not allow it anymore. Has your stance changed at all? Is it emboldened?
No, I would like to think that my stance and position on it has helped the athletic commissions make some tough decisions on it. You know, I think that I had no problem with it before. I get it. It's sports science, and they figured out a way to get. But the problem I had was that the guys were abusing it and cheating. And what I mean by that is if you take this stuff in large amounts, it's basically like taking steroids. And if you're a younger guy, an older guy, whatever your deal is, you're able to recover faster. You know, in training, you're stronger, you're faster, you're this, you're that. And then what you do is by the end of your camp, you tone it down to get back within the limits. It's not fair. You got a guy who is using nothing except, you know, his natural abilities and out there working and taking his lumps and bruises and resting and sleeping at night and coming back the next day. It's not fair.
So how do you reconcile that? That's your position, and yet one of the kind of more known faces, of course, in the last couple of years, Chael Sonnen, used it.
Yeah.
Vitor Belfort's had 2 amazing head kick knockouts in his last 2 fights. So you have your stance, and then when you see like his results and then Chael being so popular, how do you kind of reconcile that with your own feelings or your own beliefs as it relates to your business?
So what we do is exactly what I said we were going to do. Is we're going to test these guys through, you know, randomly test them throughout their training to see where their limits are, and we did, you know. And Vitor Belfort's been getting a lot of heat for it, but Vitor Belfort has complied. You know, he has complied with what we're going to do, and it's legal. Not in California now, but it's legal in other places. So until it's not legal everywhere else, and you know, we're going to keep an eye on these guys and make sure that it's fair. And I would have to agree with Luke Rockhold with the Vitor Belfort thing. TRT didn't kick him in the head.
Fair enough. Excellent. Did Roy Nelson steal the show Saturday night?
He could. You know, the thing is about Roy Nelson knocked out Czech Congo with a punch to the neck. You know what I mean? When you hit that hard, the guy hits hard, he's got an unbelievable chin, his wrestling is great, and he's a great jiu-jitsu guy, you know? Grooming, not so well. You know, watching his weight, not great. But everywhere else,
that's like me. I don't care about grooming or watching my weight, so I'm assuming that's why people love him. Is that?
You know, people love him because he's a fighter. He goes out there and he'll fight anybody. Look at he took this fight, you know, didn't know who he was going to fight, and we end up putting Stipe in there. You know, he's a guy who will go out and fight, and he's a guy who will try to knock your head off, and that's what fans love. And they probably like him because I don't.
If he wins this fight, he's going to no doubt say that he should be next in line after Kane and JJ.
Next in line for a title?
Wouldn't you assume that
if he beats Stipe, he's not next in line. You know, he'd have to beat you know, one of the top guys. We were just talking about Verdum sitting out for so long. You know,
a rematch. Like a rematch.
Yeah. Would you assume that Roy's the kind of guy though that's going to say if he wins, I should be next?
No, if he wins, he's going to say all kinds of stupid shit.
Is that going to make it?
That's
more
what we're used
to.
I'm used to him saying stupid shit.
Does that make it harder to negotiate with him since this is his last fight on the year?
Is it ever easy to negotiate with Roy Nelson? No. Doesn't matter. If he loses Saturday, he'll be tough to deal with. If he loses 5 in a row, he'll be tough to deal with. That it?